Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. In Ouida, Benin, a National Vodou Day is celebrated on January 10th. And in the spirit of this celebration, we created New Orleans International Vodou Day, now in its third year. We continue to invite your support, participation, volunteership, donations, and sponsorship by visiting us at www.voodooday.org, www.vodouday.org. We are looking forward to a very powerful experience this year, and we indeed appreciate your continued support and participation. Thank you for listening and participating in this weeknight, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time podcast on a social media platform near you or by way of our StreamYard QR code in the upper right corner of your screen. Thank you so much to our listeners and participants in our various Facebook platforms, profiles, groups. We also appreciate your support and listenership in LinkedIn, our international audience, as well as YouTube, our local, national, and international listenership. We certainly do appreciate Twitter X, and of course, always Instagram. Greetings and salutation to you and yours who continue to show up for us here live in the chat. Greetings to you, Britt Brett. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight. Greetings and salutations, Daniel Neal, faithful member of our community. And certainly we appreciate you, S. Marie, for continuing to support and be present with us. We will be unmuting our beloved co-host as well as team members of New Orleans International Vodou Day momentarily. The Queen Mother, Sister Toni Martinez, community activist, community educator, community mother. Elder Reggie, Green Soap leader and founder of Shrine of the White Cloth, a committed, active member of NOIVD. Our beloved Bianca Johnson Plessy, an initiated member of La Source on 4 and Chien, as well as an active participant and co-administrator of NOIVD, and our beloved Rudolph Pierre we also know as Nèg Mawon. We certainly do appreciate you for your joining the panel and continuing to support this powerful endeavor. And we look forward to us all coming together on Saturday, May 23rd, and Sunday, May 24th of this year for a very powerful, powerful event. Our symposium, our Afro ecology exhibit, our youth program will all happen on Saturday, May 23rd at Xavier University in the Grand Auditorium. And then the procession will begin at the river with a ceremony conducted by Elder Reggie, a procession through the French Quarter into the various slave market locations and history on its way to Congo Square, where we will have lunch at noon and then have a very powerful 4 hour authentic Haitian Vodou demonstration with participation from our Benin delegation, who will be present here with us, as well as our local and national Haitian community, and a local member and community such as yourself. So we please invite you to visit us at www.voodooday.org. For more information, please click the contact card and send us your um, invite to participate, volunteer, um, sponsor, donate, and we'll certainly follow up with more information to get you sort of plugged in with us there. Tonight, I want to ask a very powerful and some of you might say an important question. Who is God? And who is God in Vodou, and Voodoo? Before we begin today's conversation, I invite you to take a breath, and not just of air, but a breath of memory, a breath of lineage, a breath that reaches back across oceans, across centuries, across the Middle Passage, and into the living heartbeat of the African world. Because when we ask the question, who is God, in the context of Vodou, and Voodoo, we are not asking a small question. We are asking a question that has traveled, a question that has survived, a question that has shaped, shifted, adapted, resisted, and remained. And in the traditions of the mother continent, West Africa, Central Africa, the ancient kingdoms and nations that birthed our spiritual sciences, God is not a stranger. God is not distant. God is not a singular image or a singular name. God is the source, the great mystery, the creative intelligence that breathes through nature, through community, through the ancestors, and through every living thing. Among the Fan and Ewe peoples of Dahomey, what we now call Benin, Togo, and parts of Ghana, God is known as Mawo Lisa. Mawo, the gentle moon, the coolness, the night, the nurturer. Lisa, the sun, the heat, the strength, the order of the day. And together they form a divine balance, a cosmic duality that expresses the fullness of creation. Mawaliza is not two gods, but one wholeness with two faces, reminding us that creation requires harmony, complementary, and equilibrium. Among the Yoruba, God is Olodumare, the supreme being, the owner of the sky, the one who holds the breath of life. And Olodumare is not approached directly, but is honored through the Orisha, the divine forces that govern nature, character, and destiny. And in this worldview, God is the architect, and the Orisha are the engineers, the administrators, the living principles that keep the universe in motion. Among Congo peoples, God is Nzambi, A Impungu, the great creator, the spark of life that animates the visible and invisible worlds. In Congo cosmology, the universe is a circle, a Kalunga line dividing the world of the living from the world of the ancestors. God is the one who empowers both realms, ensuring that life is a continuous cycle, not a straight line. And across the mother continent, God is known by many names: Mawolisa, Olodumare, Nzambi, Inyame, Rug, Ama, and Chukwu. But the essence is the same. God is the source of all things, the one who creates through multiplicity, through divine forces, through the spirits we call Voodoo, Loa, Orisha, Nkisi, and the mysteries. And then came the horrors of the Middle Passage, when our ancestors were forced into the belly of ships, chained in darkness, stripped of land and language. They did not lose God. They carried God in their bones. They carried God in their breath. They carried God in the secret names whispered beneath the sound of waves and iron. And when they arrived in the Americas, South America, Central America, the West Indies, Haiti, the Caribbean, and eventually the port city of New Orleans, they carried those divine names into new soil. In Haiti, the supreme creator is known as Bon Dieu, from the French bon Dieu, meaning good God. But make no mistake, this is not a European God. This is the African creator wearing a new linguistic garment. Bon Dieu is distant, transcendent, the ultimate source, just as in West Africa the creator is served through the Loa, the divine intermediaries who govern life, nature, and destiny. The Loa are not gods in the Western sense. They are forces, principles, intelligences, and ancestral powers that help human beings navigate the world. In the Caribbean and across the West Indies, African nations blended, merged, and reemerged. The names of God shifted, but the essence remained. In Cuba, the Yoruba concept of Olodumare continued through Lukumi. In Brazil, the supreme being appears in Candomblé as Olorun or Zambi, echoing both Yoruba and Congo lineages. In Suriname and Guyana, the Maroon communities preserved Akan, Fan, and Congo understandings of the Creator under names like Gadu and Inyami. Everywhere our people landed, God traveled with them. And then there is New Orleans. New Orleans is not just a city, it is a crossroads, a place where Africa, the Caribbean, France, Spain, and the indigenous America collide and created something new. In New Orleans, voodoo, the supreme creator, is often simply God, or the good God, or the Almighty, reflecting the Catholic and Creole influences of the region. But beneath those names, the African understanding remains. The Creator is the source, the one who empowers the spirits, the ancestors, and the forces of nature. In Louisiana voodoo, the divine forces are often called spirits, saints, mysteries, or powers, but their roots trace back to the same African nations: the Fan, Ewe, Yoruba, Congo, Igbo, and so many more. The Creator is honored through the work of the ancestors, through the spirits of the land, and through the rituals of healing, protection, justice, and community. So when we ask, who is God in Vodou, and Voodoo, we're asking a question with 1,000 answers, and all of them are true. All of them are true. God is the source. God is the balance. God is the breath. God is the one who creates through many names, many nations, many spirits, and many manifestations. God is the river that flows from the mother continent across the Middle Passage into the Caribbean, into the Americas, and to the living demonstration of New Orleans voodoo. God is the continuity that slavery could not break, colonization could not erase, and time could not diminish. And so today, beloved co hosts and listening audience and participants, as we prepare to begin this podcast, we honor those names. We honor those nations. We honor the Creator who has traveled with us, through us, and for us. Because in our traditions, God is not a distant figure. God is a living presence. God is the breath in our bodies, the rhythm in our drums, the wisdom of our elders, and the power of our ancestors. So let us begin to unmute and begin this conversation with reverence, with clarity, with pride, and with the understanding that when we speak of God in Vodou, and Voodoo, we are speaking of a divine force that has crossed oceans, survived empires, and continues to rise in every generation. So let the journey begin. How you doing, beloved co-host?
Hello, everyone. How are you?
Greetings, greetings.
Mm-hmm. Greetings.
Good
Peace,
evening,
everyone.
everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, in Haitian voodoo, Bandi, they don't really petition him. They don't go to him directly. They go through what I call the lesser gods, the Loa. But do they make an altar to him?
Um, Ayibobo,
Hi,
Alasso
hi,
for
Bobo.
I was gonna so let me answer that. There's there's a Christians in Haiti. Some people have a different concept of what bon Dieu is all about. I heard the speech, but let me tell you exactly what Voodoo says as far as bon Dieu is concerned. Um, we need to understand we say bon Dieu, I mean good God as language, but there's a word in Vodou called se. Se, S-E. It's a language as initiated, when we talk, we say, we say. It's like, it's a fraction of God within us. And there's a prayer, it says, because we are God. Because we understand, um, there's a brochure that I wrote. It says I said there's a scholar called James Small. It says Vodou means God in the foreign language and Togo the Ewe people who share ancestry with the Fongbe. Vodou is one of the words that means God. If one wants to say God is within me in the foreign language, you may simply say Vodou Daha. In the foreign language, Almighty God is Lisa. It all depends on which cosmogony so you're talking about. And the omnipresent, God is Sogbelisa in Haitian Vodou. Sogbelisa. In Haitian Vodou, when on that Vodou or Vodou, we stated that we are Kwese. Kwese, this is mean. It's an indication that said that Adept is embracing God. In other words, when the Vodou Adept affirms that we are said, this is a reference to the segment of the divine, within us, Similarly, when they claim that we are Sese, that's an affirmation, an acceptance of God living matter as equal value. No particular thing is more important than others in Voodoo. Everything that exists is part of God, and that's why we must respect life in all its form, plant, animal. My life has no value than the tree. My life has no value than the animals, because God everywhere there's life, God is there. The Hun is the divine inside of us. We always say that se bolobige. We are God within God. And there's a song that's it's a when qui agaçou ele sobo nous sommes où. When qui agaçou ele sobo nous sommes où déjà when qui déjà agaçou ele. Déjà when qui déjà agaçou ele sobo nous sommes où. When qui WENKEN. It means like we are God on earth, Dieu sur terre. That's what it means. There's no such thing as as compared to what other people brings us that's different churches with Saint Constantine, the Lutheran, all that. That has nothing to do with gods and Voodoo. They refer to when you go to any Webster Laos. They will misspell God with a small G, saying oh there's it's only one God, because there's a way they try to make you navigate, make you oriented to there's one God, because we are God. You understand? And as a living being, there's different entities the Loa are different. The Loa are in a different dimension. Let's say the goddesses we are God pretty much. And when we say se, we are God within God. Period.
Okay. Now that is great information that you had given us, because I know that that was one of the things that I was trying to understand also, because I noticed that like when I go to ceremonies or just anything in like the temple and stuff, we always talk about Legba and like all the different loas and orishas, but it wasn't too many times that I actually really heard about Olo Damari. I heard about him every one, like here and there, but I really didn't hear so much about him. Like we really didn't. I didn't get a lot of information about him. So that's why I really wanted to learn more about the creator and the
It's all
supreme creator of
depend which
him.
cosmogony you're talking about. Olodudu Mari Olowun, that's Yoruba cosmogony.
Mm-hmm.
Maui Lisa, that's the Dahomey. If you go Congo, it will be Simbi. It's all depending on which cosmogony so you're talking about.
Mm. So when I had a question for you is about so long time ago, well when they were talking about how they when we talking about like the similarities of him and the Christian, like God and Christianity. And I know that before they was talking about how they rejected the blend. And I know that like before they rejected the blend as far as comparing him to the Christianity God, because they fear of losing the cultural identity, and didn't want the Orishas to be labeled as demons, and just like a lot of things that we all like a lot of people look at them now in the negative way. But I know that later down the line, they did found a way how to blend it in the way. Is there any way that you could explain that a little bit more, or why they rejected the blend, and then how they later figure out how they was able to blend it in a positive way?
So one thing you need to understand the historical perspective. As we were about to say, and there's a book called the Code Noir. I don't know which article. I don't know whether it's 8. If that's one thing. The African must be converted into Christianity. To be in Voodoo. I mean, to be in the land, because they have to strip us from the spirituality, anything that we have. and we use all kind of camouflage, and we were forced to pray. We will put the veve underneath, and then we put the sit, on top of it, just to, as camouflage. This is one thing. But nowadays, with research, people understand where Christianity came from, because Christianity is no more than no more than 2,000 years. As far as started with Council Nicaea, went to Egypt, get all the knowledge. It's all there to research. You understand? So and then bring after the Constantine, and then they have the Lithuanian, sort of with all the Protestants and all of that. They invested so much money to strip people from their spirituality, and this is one form of slavery, which is what I call modern slavery. But right now, because you cannot develop under your culture or your spirituality. That's so it's a must. So now with so much things out there, and then it's all become, you see people more try to come to their spirituality, awaken to understand all this it's a lie, because God is it's water, God is fire, it's earth, it's everything. There's no such thing as and as far as the Bible, which is so we don't discuss. I don't discuss faith with anyone. In Voodoo, we don't ask you to worship anything. You don't need to convert to anything. It's a way of life. Because I define Voodoo as a civilization. To me, Voodoo is a civilization based on a powerful communal system that does not discriminate against people based on their social status or skin color, where everyone is equal. And there's a great writer called Nèg Mawon, and he says the Voodoo is the Haitian Voodoo pretty much is the original language of the mass, the language of the social historical frustration of the oppressed, a language of resistance, and a space that keeps at bay exploiters and dictators, pretty much. People are really, we have free wills, because the Voodoo is a way of life. So it's a civilization. He has his own gastronomy, his own science. Voodoo has his own culture, folklore, and so you name it, it's spirituality. So there's no such thing as people of color, pretty much. You understand? So we don't right now, even though they spend so much money, because you need to understand the history as far in 1860, after the revolution, they invited the French and the church to come to Haiti with a guy named Geoffroy to colonize again once more Haiti with education, with religion. They make Catholic the official religion of Haiti. So that's pretty much. So it's a constant this is it's a constant battle. You need to understand, but the knowledge is there, everything is there for people do your own research and understanding that we are part of God, pretty much. There's no such thing, we have a history of more than million years. So you're gonna try to bring or give us something which is the churches, all this. It's no more. It's no more than 3,000 years. That's it.
Well, Brother Elder Reggie, do you have anything like an input or anything that you would like to talk about tonight about this subject?
Okay, Elder Reggie may still be in transit.
Yeah. Blessed everyone. Divine Prince, Sister Bianca, Sister Toni, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, I was dropping towers on these back roads. I'm traveling. But as Divine said, all is a blessing, and I was enjoying some of the show. But what I would like to say, my viewpoint on God, since I've been dabbing into the ATRs, God is far away. You honor God, and that's it. But the life we live is an aspect of God, but we are working with the intermediaries, the deities, the elements, your own, which is called your cry. Some people call it your chi. And in OD90, there has a name for it. But you are here to live an experience of your true God self. And so the way I'm going to compact it and leave it is that you are God, an aspect of God. Everything that God is resonating through you. And that's what I would like to add to that.
Okay. Yeah, that is a good thing that you have said too, because there are they have like different views, like between the Yoruba spirituality and the Christianity way. And I would like to know if you'd like to explain a little bit more, because I know they say like the different views of the sins in judgment. Like for you, the Yoruba spirituality, like we focus on balance, character, and repairing of the harm, versus as Christianity, they focus on sin, guilt, and eternal judgment. And I know that they were saying that, like, with Yoruba people, that's why they rejected the Christianity, because they felt like it put more of a fear base rather than harmony based on the different aspects. So is there any way that you could explain a little bit more on those different the different views on the sins and judgment between the Yoruba spirituality and the Christianity?
Yes, I can. In the Yoruba system, Olodumare is the name for God, but Olodumare is not partaking in humanity affairs. So the Orishas are set up. You have Osumare, which is like over the sky. You have Ogun, you have Shango, you have all these different Orishas, and they are morality aspects of things. So if a person is having a morality issue or having a problem, they're going to go to the Babalawo, who's going to petition Ifa. And so whatever the spirit is showing Ifa on the on the spread, it is actually dealing with if it's sin, infidelity, morality, or whatever, the spirit is going to reveal that through Ifa. And then the Babalawo read what the Odus are saying and try to give you instructions to live your life accordingly. Versus where we all know coming out of the Christian system, the way they approach to morality and sin and the afterlife is just totally different. And that's why I heard Mike say it earlier, and Divine Prince says it all the time. In the ATRs, you are living. This is a living experience. It's not coming from a dead book. You're not being chastised by people that lived thousands of years ago. No, what you're doing in current time is being elevated, judged, and propitiated to chastise you in this life and time. And that's why a lot of people are moving toward the Yoruba system, because it is a valid living system. That's the way I see it.
Well, I certainly appreciate your time and contributions, all of you. Nèg Mawon, Rudolph Pierre, our beloved Queen Mother and Sister Bianca Johnson Plessy, Elder Reggie Greensock, leader and founder of Shrine of the White Cloth. And we continue to invite your support, participation. We invite you to submit questions, comments, show topics that you would wish us to discuss here in this space for about 30 minutes at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on a weeknight using the QR code link found in the top right corner of your screen. And so we're thankful for all of those who are listening and participating by way of my Facebook page, Sister Bianca's Facebook, Rudolph Pierre's Facebook, and certainly Elder Reggie's Shrine of the White Cloth group, my Black Hawk Voodoo group, as well as Sister Toni and I's uh, New Orleans Black Then and Now group. We certainly appreciate your listenership, participation, and support. Our international audience in LinkedIn, certainly our local, national, and international audience in YouTube, our listening, participating audience in Twitter X, and we're thankful for our new location in which we can be found by way of our website by going to ayibobovodouday.org, VOOD, I'm sorry, VODOUDAY.org. And at the top of your screen, you'll see a link there, Live Voodoo Hoodoo 101, powered by NOIVD. And you should now be able to click a link there or watch right there on screen the live broadcast as well as the reoccurring archive shows should be visible there. So please send us a note. Let us know how you're enjoying the site, enjoying the podcast, your creative ideas in terms of show topics and ideas. And we always are appreciative of those of you who check in and listen by way of Instagram. Ether Real 5 star, we certainly appreciate you. Starboy Kush, thank you for coming through. Abu Lawe, we certainly appreciate you for coming through. Ishmael Rahim, thank you for stopping through. Neskire View 369, we certainly appreciate you. Eris Sanchita joined us tonight, and Carolina Mademoiselle joined, and Bayou Social Nola. And again, we invite you to join us again Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on a platform near you or by way of our StreamYard QR code that can be found in the top right corner of your screen. And I'm going to now turn the mic over to Elder Reggie to close us out, read a few announcements, and give us a blessing for the weekend.
Thank you, Divine Prince. It's carnival time in New Orleans, February the 16th, that Tuesday. It's also known as Mardi Gras. We have a large selection and variety of Santa Muerte statuaries available at the Island of Salvation, Botanica. That location is 2372 St. Claude Avenue, Suite 100 in the Healing Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. We always mention NOIVD podcast. Yay! Our next new moon prayer and application ceremony will occur on the new moon Sunday, March 18th, in the zodiac of Pisces at 6:30 p.m. That location is 710 Clewitt Street. We call it the Clewitt Gardens in New Orleans. A ritual spiritual warfare gathering of ritual. If you're in the area, please come out. With that, I say least we forget. The show was a powerful show. I did more listening and talking, but it's beautiful, and Divine Prince bring up some awesome topics. So listening audience, continue to check in and check with us on this. With that, I say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Good night, everyone. We love you all. Be careful if you're going to the parades out in the city, and we'll see you Monday night. Be blessed.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Odabo.
Night.
Do you know what social citizenship is? It's okay, most people don't. And that's actually the problem. Because a lot of the confusion around rights, belonging, and why everything feels so uneven, it comes from mixing up legal citizenship with social citizenship, and just assuming that they're the same. But they're not. Legal citizenship is the easy part. That's paperwork, passports, birth certificates, naturalization, status recognized by the government, you know? It answers the question, are you legally a citizen of this country? Social citizenship answers a different question, though. It asks, do you receive the protections, respect, and assumptions of belonging that citizenship is supposed to come with? And that's where things break down. Because you can be a legal citizen and still not be treated like one. You can have papers and still be questioned, surveilled, doubted, policed, excluded, treated as provisional. Social citizenship is about whether the system shows up for you, without you having to prove that you deserve it. So think about it like this. Legal citizenship says you belong here. Social citizenship says we believe you belong here. Those are not the same experience, and a lot of us know that. Historically, the U.S. has been pretty comfortable granting legal citizenship, right? But they withhold that social citizenship status. Black Americans, after the 14th Amendment, were citizens on paper, but denied voting rights, safety, equal education, housing, and protection. So what does citizenship actually mean if they refuse to defend you? It meant that your rights existed until they became inconvenient. Indigenous people are another example. Even when citizenship was extended, it didn't come with sovereignty respect, with resource protection, or even safety from removal and neglect, legal inclusion, and social exclusion. You get me? Immigrants experience this constantly. Someone can be a citizen for decades and still get asked, "Where are you really from? Do you speak English? Are you here legally?" That question, those questions, tell you that social citizenship has not been granted. And the part that people seem to miss is that social citizenship is not just about race. It's also about class, disability, religion, language, gender, and politics. If the system assumes that you're credible, that you're deserving and you're worthy of protection, you're experiencing social citizenship. If it assumes that you're suspicious, disposable, or on probation, you're not. Easy enough, right? This is why some people can move through crises and just expect help. They assume police are going to protect them. Courts are going to believe them. Institutions will intervene. And mistakes won't ruin everything. That confidence isn't personality. That is social citizenship. Other people know instinctively that help might not come. That escalation could make things worse. That visibility is risky. That being right doesn't always mean being protected. That's not paranoia. It's lived reality without social citizenship. And this is why conversations about rights get so tense, because some people are arguing from the assumption that citizenship is secure. Others are arguing from the generational evidence that it is conditional. Legal citizenship can be granted all at once. Social citizenship is rationed. It expands and contracts with fear, with politics, with who the country is anxious about at any given moment. So no, everyone is not equal under the law, because equality on paper does not mean equality in practice. Social citizenship is the difference between having rights and being able to use them, between belonging in theory and being treated like you belong in real life. And once you understand that distinction, a lot of America's tension just makes sense. Why trust is uneven, why compliance doesn't guarantee safety, why citizenship doesn't always feel secure even when it's legal. So the real question isn't just who's a citizen, it's who gets to live like one. And history shows us very clearly that those answers have never been the same.